19. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, please leave a rating and a review. It will help us out tremendously. Visit us on the sportscast.net, sportscast.net for the latest and greatest in sports news. World Series Game 6. Astros win tonight or tomorrow night, and they'll be World Series champs. For the Washington Nationals, they lose tonight, and it's over. And to join us to talk to us a little bit about the sportscast, about the World Series, Mr. Caillou Borden, welcome back.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Caillou, what a series. USA, like the both away teams have won. Will it flip back? Will the Nationals win tonight?
I think that it's going to be a very good game tonight. I think that home teams are currently 0-5, and like looking back at the last 5 years, like here's some numbers. Home teams this year is 17-18, in 2018, 17-16, 2017, 27-11, 2016, 17-18, 2015, 19-17, and sorry if I made an error, 2017, 27-11. I think the Nationals have a pretty good chance. They sent Steven Strasburg to the mound, 28 innings this playoffs, 25 hits, 7 runs, 40 strikeouts, 2 walks in 5 games. I think that they really have a good shot, but for them, the key is going to be the first inning because Justin Verlander has really struggled in the first inning. And if they get an early lead, I can see the Nationals winning this game. But like if they fall behind early, I think it's going to be Houston's game. Steven Strasburg already beat the Astros in Game 2. He's 1-0 with a 3 ERA, 7 strikeouts in the World Series. He has a very good playoff ERA. In his career, he has a 1.34 playoff ERA, and this year he has a 1.93. And Verlander in his last game became the all-time leader in postseason strikeouts with 200. So he's searching for his first World Series win. 5.73 ERA in 6 career World Series starts. 0-5. I think they get it done tonight.
So can you tell us what happened? Like what, like the Astros were dominating in like these last 3 games. What happened? What did they do different versus like the first 2 games?
I think a big factor for them was Yordan Alvarez. I think he was really like struggling for them, and like him like struggling and going on the road. I think that really got them going. He went 3 for 3. He had a home run in the second inning. Gurriel scored, so that got them going. They gave him a 2-0 lead, and he ended up going 3 for 3. So I felt like that was really huge, getting those early runs for them. Getting Carlos Correa going, who has the most, who is tied with Derek Jeter with the most home runs by shortstop in World Series history. Derek Jeter has 3 in 38 games. Correa has 12. Correa has 3 in 12 games. So I think that getting that going, and I think like Correa before the age of 26 has 11 home runs, 32 RBIs, and 21 extra base hits. So I think getting those 2 guys going who was really struggling in Houston, I think there's a lot of pressure coming off that Yankees series. Like they win 6 games, and like coming off an intense series like that, I just think for them, it like you had to like just settle down, get the at-bats going, get the home runs going. They had 10 hits. They went 2 for 5 runs scored. So I think sometimes going on the road, you put more pressure. Sometimes playing in front of your fans. Sometimes like it's good to just go on the road and like just take a step back and just get your offense going again.
I believe if there is a Game 7, Max Scherzer might start.
Yeah, I think that if there is a Game 7, I think the Nationals actually really have a good shot to win tonight. But I think the Astros win because for a couple reasons. Verlander is looking for his first World Series win, 0-5, like I said, with a 5.73 World Series ERA in 6 starts. And I also think having that DH back, moving Yordan Alvarez back to DH, and like being able to go with their regular Springer and being able to go with their regular outfield and moving Yordan Alvarez back to DH, I think it helps them. I think the Nationals really have a good chance because Steven Strasburg is one of the best playoff starters, and not just this year in history of baseball. But I think that the Astros, even though home teams are currently 0-5 in the playoffs, I don't see the Nationals winning three straight at home. I think if they get ahead, I don't see them winning three straight at the Astros Minute Maid Park. But I see if they get ahead, they can win this game. But the key is going to be all about the first inning. If they have an opportunity against Justin Verlander, they're going to have to capitalize. Even if it's just one run, they're going to have to capitalize and try to hold on to the lead for dear life.
You did predict that the Astros will win in 6.
Yeah.
Do you still hold that prediction?
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I think the Astros are gonna win in 6. I think the Astros are gonna win tonight. I think they've just played so well at home, and I don't believe that they're gonna lose 3 straight games at home. But if the Nationals can figure out a way in the first inning to try to scratch a run, and Trey Turner tonight can get on and he can steal a base, and their lineup could get maybe hit a 3-run home run or get a run off Verlander, it can make a lot interesting because I think that Strasburg's going to have to go 7, and then because they can't trust their bullpen, Daniel Hudson struggle, and their bullpen continues to struggle, I think they're going to have to find a way to get those 6 outs. But I see the Astros winning. I think home field advantage. I think they played too well at home. I think even though they've struggled in the World Series at home, I think with a chance to close out tonight, you don't want to take a chance in Game 7. You're one umpire game away from losing the series. You don't want that pressure. So I think they definitely look. You got your one of your top 2 pitchers on the mound. Garrett Cole threw a sensational game in his last outing: 7 innings, 3 hits, 110 pitches. He has a 1.72 playoff ERA, 36 2/3, 47 strikeouts, 11 walks this playoffs. Is tied for the most strikeouts by AL pitcher in history of the playoffs. So I think that you definitely want to close it out while you can. You don't want to. You as a fan, it's great for that Game 7, and I'm rooting for it. But like as a player, you want to try to end it as soon as you possibly can. So I think they get it done tonight.
How would you rate this World Series compared to others?
From what standpoint? From a rating standpoint? From an entertainment standpoint? What do you mean?
From a competitive standpoint.
I think it's like unlike past World Series, I think it's been a little down because like considered like a 2-0 lead. I did expect the Astros are a great team, but I did expect more from the Nationals at home. I was a little let down by them because at home, like typically when you take a 2-0 lead, I'm expecting a little more from you at home. And I saw teams to win a World Series after losing their first 2 games at home. The 1985 Royals defeated the Cardinals in 7 games. In 1986, the Mets defeated the Red Sox in 7 games, and the Yankees defeated the Braves in 6 games. And the Astros, they had a +16 run differential, which is the 4th highest in a single World Series on a row. And I was considering that I didn't think that they would sweep the Astros. Of course not. The Astros are too great of a team. But considering at home, I was a little disappointed by the Nationals just not being able to get that at bat going. I expected them to lose Game 3, but I didn't expect them to lose in the fashion that they did. So I feel like it's been a little disappointing for me considering how the Nationals have at-bats were at home.
Hypothetically speaking, if the New York Yankees was in the World Series and playing against the Nationals, and seeing how the Nationals have been playing the past couple of games, would have the Yankees have a chance against the Nationals?
No, I think the Yankees would definitely have a shot against the Nationals. I think that we will be facing Max Scherzer, Patrick Corbin, and like 3 aces. So that would be a tough matchup, but I think the Yankees have the advantage. I always say the AL has a distinct advantage in the World Series. That's why it's currently all-time 68-46 all-time in the World Series, because an AL lineup, like having that DH is really important. And I think that having that DH is really important. And then when the AL pitcher goes to a National League ballpark, since we're so used to accustomed to facing 1 through 9, now that you have to face 1 through 8 and you're facing a pitcher, it makes it even easier for the AL. And I think that we subtract the DH from our lineup, but I think our 1 through 8 hitters are always better than the National League for the most part. So I think that the Yankees, from that standpoint, having that DH would definitely be a huge factor of the Nationals. And I think from a bullpen advantage, I think we would definitely have an advantage. And the third factor I think would matter. I think coaching experience, the fact that Boone's been in tough games, he's played in ALEs, he's played as a player. So I think having those 3 advantages, having that DH, Yankee Stadium's crowd, so I think those would definitely be a factor, and also the bullpen edge.
Speaking about the Yankees, they fired the pitching coach Harry Rothschild, and they announced it on Monday. He had the job since 2011. Was that a good decision by the Yankees?
I think that he joined the staff in 2011. They had the fourth most wins above replacement, 169.5. This year they were 14 in ERA, and they had 18.1 WAR. I don't know. I'm conflicted because on one part of it, like, he's been there 8 years, and like the pitchers that he's had over the course of the 8 years. If you look at, he was able to fix Tanaka and Paxton had a better second half. I think that it wasn't his fault. The Yankees were only outscored by 1 run. I think a lot of times pitching coaches get too much credit when things go right and too much blame when things go wrong. But I think it was a situation where, from the Yankees standpoint, they probably felt like they had to move on. I don't think he was all to blame because if you look at the series, even though Justin Verlander did pitch great, the Yankees went 6 of 35 runs scored. In Game 2, when Justin Verlander left the game was tied. A lot of people give him a lot of credit, but in fact, the game was tied 2-2 when he left, and still went additional 4 in the third innings, and the Yankees just didn't score. Same thing in Game 3. They had an opportunity against Garrett Cole, 4-1 when he left the game. There was 2 innings to score. They just didn't score. They had a number of opportunities. Was Larry Rothschild like the greatest pitching coach ever? No, but he worked with a staff that he worked with. The Yankees had a lot of injuries, but Tantis was out most of the year, majority of the year. Severino didn't pitch much. Paxton was making a transition from Seattle to New York. So I think there was a lot of circumstances to why. I think there was a lot of circumstances, and I don't think that it's all his fault, but I don't think that he's blameless either.
Rothschild played for the Detroit Tigers in 1981 and 82. In addition to the Yankees, he has coached for the Cincinnati Reds, Atlanta Braves, Florida Marlins, and Chicago Cubs. He served as the manager of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays from 98 through 2001. So the Yankees are making some changes, maybe some positive changes. You know, they want to win the World Series. They're going to do it soon. This talent right now they have is just you got to take advantage of it, capitalize on it, and hopefully we'll see Yankees in the World Series next year.
For sure.
Moving on, in college football, Oklahoma loses against Kansas State. There was never a moment of uncertainty on Kansas State's sideline when the 5th-ranked Oklahoma raced to an early lead, or when the wounded Sooners began to mount a frantic fourth-quarter comeback. There might have been just a bit when they received an onside kick. It was a little anxious, Wildcats defensive end Wyatt Herbert said, anxiousness that soon gave way to elation. Officials reviewed the recovery within 1 minute, 45 seconds left in the game and determined the ball hit on Oklahoma player a yard early, giving it to the Wildcats. They ran out of the rest of the clock to finish off a 48-41 victory that dealt the Sooners' national title hopes a major blow. Caillou, this is a huge surprise. What were your thoughts about Oklahoma's loss against Kansas State?
The game was really, really disappointing on a lot of fronts. Oklahoma had really taken a huge step forward on defense, and I just felt like Oklahoma really let out, and they weren't aggressive. They weren't attacking. Oklahoma, I was really shocked by this. I was really shocked by this. I was really disappointed. I felt like from a physicality standpoint, Oklahoma was just allowing people to just straight walk in the end zone. I just felt like it was completely unprofessional. They had 24 first downs, 6 of 13 on third down, 426 yards. Oklahoma was just sloppy, 213 rushing yards. Jalen Hurts played well. I mean, we dominated time possessions, 39-08 to 21-52. And it wasn't even like it was a scheme. I just felt like Oklahoma was just missing a lot of tackles. Jalen Hurts played great, 19-26, 395 yards. I just felt like Oklahoma it wasn't even schemes. It was just straight quarterback runs. I just felt like there was a lack of aggression. And I just felt like, one, it was just a lack of aggression. There wasn't no tenacity in our play. I just felt like the linebackers were just missing tackles. It was simple quarterback draws. They were running everywhere. And I just didn't get the sense that Oklahoma really wanted to win. They fell behind the line in the third quarter. Then when they mounted the fourth quarter, I got happy about the fumble, only to be let down. I just felt that Oklahoma lacked the physical and the want to win this game. In terms of their playoffs, this does a lot for their playoffs. But I don't think they're out the woods yet. We've seen a lot of one-loss teams make the college football playoffs. Now they face more of an uphill battle, and considering that Texas lost, that obviously dampers our chances a lot. Hopefully we can make that up against Baylor. I don't think that our college football playoffs are done, but boy, does this take a huge hit to those playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. They dropped to number 10 in the AP poll. But was their defense the big problem? I know it's been in question marks this past season.
Yeah, I think it was a huge spot. In this game, I've had a hard time understanding why we gave 48 points to Kansas State. And they weren't even running like confusing plays. It was just straight physicality. They were just beating Oklahoma at the line of scrimmage. I just felt like Oklahoma didn't play with that edge like they were playing in Texas. I don't know if they let their guards down, if they were looking forward, if this is just a bad Saturday. But this was a bad showing, and everyone's going to be watching Oklahoma's defense because we've struggled with that for the last couple of seasons. So we got to just keep stringing together good performance. I know we had that great performance against Texas, but we just got to keep building off that. And this was one of those games where we had the opportunity to keep showing our defense. Even though Kansas State, we had an opportunity to keep showing that we're for real on defense. I feel like Jalen Hurts played all right. Even though he had those turnovers, I feel like he played all right. I just feel like our defense really, really took a step back. And I just feel like it was physicality. Oklahoma just didn't match Kansas State's physicality. We were just getting beat at the line of scrimmage.
Oklahoma's next 3 games is Iowa State, and also they play against Baylor and then TCU in the next 3 games. So, yeah, Kansas State has moved up to number 22nd in the AP poll. So, of course, they're happy to be ranked, but not much is going to happen from there. Other Pac-12 scores, Oklahoma State defeated Iowa State 34-27. Like you were saying, TCU defeated Texas 37-27.
Yeah, that game really surprised me. Ellinger had 4 interceptions. He didn't play his thing. So that game really surprised me. And that game also, like, if you look at that game in the context of the college football playoffs, Oklahoma beat Texas, but now TCU winning that game takes a little bit of the Oklahoma. It takes a little bit off that game. Now that Oklahoma has to hope they beat Baylor, because if Texas keeps slipping, that takes a little bit of hope off Oklahoma. And Oklahoma has to hope that LSU and Alabama. I'm going to be watching that game very closely because Oklahoma's got to hope that they can get in, because we might see 2 SEC teams in, which is going to be very unfortunate. I hope Oklahoma still gets in.
Yeah, something that, for sure to look at. I can even see 2 Big Ten teams. I know there's an argument out there that people are talking about. Penn State, it's at number 7 or 6, somewhere there. I think they do have a chance. Can you see a Big 12 team ending up into the playoffs?
I think it's going to depend a lot. There's a lot of stuff to be played. It's going to depend on a lot of factors. Like, I think Kirk Herbstreit was talking about it opened up the eyes for the Pac-12. I don't see that. I don't think that the Pac-12 has enough strength for schedule to necessarily get in. I think it's going to be an uphill battle for Oklahoma to get in. I think getting it with 0 losses, I think would have been ideal, but I think Oklahoma's going to have to sweat it out until the selection show. I think Oklahoma's going to have to be eating that pizza when they do that. I think Oklahoma's going to have to sweat it out with 1 loss like they were last year. I mean, with 0 losses, they would have been more of a thing. I think now Oklahoma has to win the Big 12 championship game, and they got to win now. And I think that they got to hope Baylor, and then they got to hope that Texas wins too, because that dampens their win off Texas, their one strong victory this year. So I think that Oklahoma and the Big 12 could I think Oklahoma could still get in, but instead of it being like a 40% chance, now it's down to 20. Now it's down to 15. Now you need, instead of 1 variable for Oklahoma to get in, being on the brink, now you're 10. Now you need 3 or 4 variables to fall in your direction to get in. So I think it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for Oklahoma. And now people are going to be watching for that second loss.
Would you consider Hurts to be a Heisman candidate?
I think Hurts is still a Heisman candidate. I still think he's playing well, and I don't think that it's his fault. I think he had 3 rushing touchdowns, so I think he's still playing well. I think that he's still playing well. I just think that it came down to Oklahoma's defense. Even when he was mounting the comeback, Oklahoma's defense just couldn't get off the field. Oklahoma's defense just couldn't get off the field. Oklahoma really, for the most part, never really loses because of offense. It's always like our offense in college football with Lincoln Riley. He always puts up points. like for me, it's like it goes a long way. Like that's why this year with Alex Grinch, I was hoping our defense because our offense in the last 3 years with Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and Jalen Hurts, it's been fine. It's just our defense, and that's why we moved on from Stoops because like we need to make a major overhaul on our defense.
Speaking about Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley is rumored to go to the Dallas Cowboys.
You want my thoughts on it?
Yeah.
I think that Lincoln Riley's going to get rumored for like a lot of jobs. I think that
It's true.
because he's very bright. So like when the time like how I like see those things like when the time comes like if like he wants it and like I think that he's going to get like rumored to a lot of jobs. Consider like depends like if Jason Garrett like gets fired depending on like how well like he does. So I think there's like still going to be like time to comment. I think there's like a lot of moving variables. How well, like does he get in the college football playoffs? Does he want to relocate his family? So I think that's more something that we can like revisit at a later time.
Today was NFL trade deadline today, and a few moves. Keith Talib to the Dolphins, but Keith Talib is injured though.
Yeah.
Leonard Williams from the Jets is going to the Giants. Was that move? You like that move or?
I think that for the Giants, I like the move. I think that the Giants, like with Dexter Lawrence, they need a front seven. So I think that I like the move there. Obviously, short defensive lineman. So I like to move the Jets right now in the fire sale. So they were thinking about trading Jamal Adams. They decided to hold him. So I like the move for the Giants. It gives you an extra defensive lineman. You're going to have the decision whether you want to pay him. And since you get a resources draft capital, I think they are going to go out and pay him because you're going to need to use the salary cap. I also think that Dave Gettleman's under a lot of pressure. So I think that I like the move. It gives them some versatile pieces. And, of course, you need to have those pieces to, like, get after the quarterbacks in the NFC because the NFC right now is loaded. So you're going to have those pieces in place. I like the move for the Giants.
Kenyon Drake from the Miami Dolphins is going to the Cardinals. Some are rumored that Edmonds and David Johnson are not healthy. Do you think Drake will see a lot of ball touches?
I think he will with Cliff Kingsbury, obviously, as their head coach, and I think Kyler Murray. And they've actually been a solid team this year. They've been better than most. I think Kyler Murray still has a long way to go, but I think they've been a solid team. And I think since they're injured, I think that they'll get a lot of play time. It's a young team. They're not expected to do much. They're going to be picked again in the top 10, so even maybe before that. So I think it's definitely going to be a good move. It's a good opportunity for him to play with Kyler Murray because of a security blanket. So, of course, having a security blanket as a running back, you can never do wrong with that.
He's actually a good move for them. Well, I mean, especially for my fantasy because I have Drake, and he'll be starting my fantasy because I think the Cardinals are going to use him a lot this weekend. So we'll see what happens. Michael Bennett going to the Cowboys. What are your thoughts?
I think it helps the Cowboys. I think it obviously adds a lot of with Vander Esch and what they're trying to do. I think the Cowboys are trying to win the division, and they're 4-3. The Eagles are 4-4. So I think that definitely helps. You got Dak Prescott there. You got Mark Cooper there. You got Zeke Elliott there. You have a good offensive line. So I think that adding a defensive piece, and I think since the NFC is loaded. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers are undefeated. The Saints are 7-1. The Packers are 7-1. The Rams are a wildcard team, and they're a wildcard team, and they are runner-up in the Super Bowl. So I think definitely adding pieces if you're an NFC team because the Cowboys definitely want to add pieces because if you want to make some noise in the playoffs, you're definitely going to have to see what everybody else is doing. You always look at what you're doing, but when you're judging the NFC, all of those teams can go on the road and win those games. So you definitely have to keep adding pieces to your roster to definitely continue to just get better and better and maybe even make a strength or further strength because the NFC is just really, really competitive.
Really stacked. Now with the Saints and Drew Brees healthy, definitely looking good. And moving from the NFC to the AFC, Mohamed Sanu, he had a few touches this past Sunday night. I think that's a good move for the Patriots.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for the Patriots considering that Josh Gordon has been hurt and with Tom Brady and James White and at the running backs they have. I think that the Patriots are always going to try to make it work. And I think it's a good move. I think it gives them a slot receiver. He came up for the Falcons. So knowing Bill Belichick, he'll definitely give them some intel on what the Falcons are running and what he's comfortable. And working with Brady, he'll definitely get an inside scoop of what that. He'll work hard. He'll prepare. So I definitely think he'll give them the insight on what the Falcons did. They'll add some Patriots, and they'll make it work. And I definitely think it's a good move for them because their wide receiver crops have been thing and they have elements. So I definitely, and the running backs that they do have, and Bill Belichick being there and being that they're gonna be right there in the AFC picture for the AFC Championship game and possibly also the Super Bowl. I definitely think that's definitely a great move, and also gives them a chance to like play meaningful games because the Falcons are struggling. The Falcons are going to have another top 5 pick this year in the draft, Matt Ryan. So I definitely think it gives them an opportunity to play competitive football again for him, and I definitely think it's good for him.
Yeah, definitely a lot of movements going on with the Falcons. Of course, Quinn might get fired by the end of the season, so we'll see what happens with the Falcons. A very talented Falcons. A lot of good key players there. Caillou, anything else before we head into game predictions?
No, I'm good.
West Virginia at Baylor. Who you got?
West Virginia at Baylor. I'm gonna go with Baylor.
Baylor, they're ranked number 12. Michigan at Maryland.
I'm going to go with Michigan. It's a 12 o'clock start time. I think that Michigan definitely gets it done. I think Michigan continue to move up, and they're currently 14th right now. I definitely think they use this opportunity to definitely just continue to move up. Jim Harbaugh just continue to move up.
Kansas State at Kansas.
I'm going to go with Kansas State. Kansas really struggle when they play us. I'm going to go with Kansas State.
Oregon at USC Trojans.
I think Oregon continues to win. I think that Justin Herbert wins this week.
Interesting, because USC has been in Utah, so we'll see. They're playing LA. Bigger game than people think, so we'll see. And plus, Oregon's been graying out like those past 2 games, so I'm pretty curious what's going to happen. Miami at FSU.
Miami.
Florida at Georgia.
I'm gonna go with. This is tough, but I'm gonna go with Georgia. I think Georgia gets it done.
It's an interesting game because this game's kind of a toss-up. Obviously, Georgia does have the home field advantage, but we'll see what Florida's all about. Georgia's a good team. They lost against the Gamecocks a couple of weeks ago. They dropped to 10th. Now they're in 8th. We'll see if they're trying to build up because this is a key SEC East matchup.
For sure.
Utah at Washington.
I'm gonna go with Utah.
Utah's a very good team. Tyler doesn't think they'll make it to the Pac-12 championship game, so we'll see what happens. This is a key game as well. SMU at Memphis.
I'm gonna go. I don't have an idea of these 2 teams, but I'm gonna go with Memphis.
SMU is ranked number 15. Memphis is number 24. So they're like a bottom table teams. They're not doing much, but we'll see what happens. World Series Game 6, the Nationals at the Houston Astros.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna stay with my prediction, and I'm gonna go with the Astros in 6. I think the opportunity for Justin Verlander is so great. You don't want to have a Game 7. It's going to be great for the fans if it's there, but I think they'll get it done tonight. Justin Verlander is currently 0-5, 5.73 ERA, and 6 starts in the World Series. I think they get it done tonight. I think the Astros quick strike early. They got Springer, Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Yuli, Jordan, Correa, Chirinos, Reddick, Verlander. I could see the Astros scoring early, and I don't think that Verlander looks back. I think that Verlander goes at least 6+ innings tonight. I think that Verlander is going to be very efficient. The opportunity back-to-back. Garrett Cole pitched really great. Justin Verlander is going to do the same thing. He's going to get his first World Series. Win. So I think that tonight I think it's going to be close. I think Strasburg's going to be just as good, but I think they're going to scratch a run or 2 off of him. And then once Strasburg gets out the game, they're going to work his pitch count. And then I think once he gets out the game, I think the floodgates are going to open. I think the Nationals bullpen is going to continue to struggle as they've been doing this series. I think that they win 6-2. I think they put on a great fight, 4-2. But in late innings, 7, 8, and 9, with the Houston crowd behind them, I think that they add 2 more runs, 8 and 9 with the crowd standing. And I think that the Astros get it done in front of their fans. I think home teams are 0-5. But tonight, I think the Astros just seize the opportunity. You don't want to play in Game 7. You're a bad umpire game away from losing it. I think the Astros get it done tonight, 6-2.
6-2. Caillou is called the World Series. The World Series never got to November after all.
Yeah, it's true. And then Game 7's tomorrow, so it won't get to November.
Not at all, yeah. And then NFL, Thursday Night Football, the 49ers visit the Cardinals in Arizona.
Yeah, I think the 49ers have been great. Nick Bosa, I mean, he's just been tremendous. I mean, you talk about defensive player of the year. I mean, it's a conversation for him. Their front seven, DeForest Buckner and them. Kyle Shanahan has done terrific. Jimmy Garoppolo is doing his part. I think even though I like Kyler Murray from Oklahoma, I think they really get after him. He's still learning football. The front seven of the 49ers, God, they've just been stout. I mean, they're unbelievable. I think they just continue to roll. They stay undefeated. And I actually think unfortunately, it's going to be a double-digit victory. 49ers convincing.
That's Thursday Night Football. And random question of the day. It's National Cat Day. What is your favorite feline? Pet cat, the tiger, the lion, or the cheetah?
Oh, I think that I can actually go with – I think that it's hard for me because, I like the cheetah. It's very fast. But I'm going to go with a tiger just because I like the feel of it and stuff. So I'm going to go with a tiger. But in a close 1B, I'm going to go with a cheetah. But I would definitely have to say a tiger. Can't go wrong with it.
Lion is winning 42%. Tiger and pet cat are tied for 25%, and the cheetah is last at 8%. Quite interesting but the lion always wins. They're the king of the jungle. Caillou, what is the best way to reach you to talk to you about Justin Verlander?
They can reach me on Twitter at Caillou Borden 12, and you can also reach me on Instagram at Caillou Borden 12.
World Series 2019 tonight, Game 6, 8:07 p.m. live on Fox. We'll see what the Nationals could come back. But you can visit us on thesportscast.net or on Twitter at thesportscast1. We don't live tweet baseball games, but keep following our Twitter feed. I've never seen a live tweet on our Twitter, but it's okay. No pressure on anyone listening. We'll be live tweeting this weekend. A lot of big games, as we were mentioning in the game predictions. Of course, Florida and Georgia. That's the one that really looms the biggest. And then SMU and Memphis. That could be very exciting as well. So visit us on thesportscast.net or on Twitter at thesportscast1. Caillou Borden at Caillou Borden 12. World Series tonight. I have never followed baseball so closely until I came to the Sportscast, and Caillou definitely has showed me what a great game it is.
For sure.
Anyways, Caillou, always a pleasure. Have a good night.
Thank you.